Are you a lefty or a righty? Okay, I'm not talking about politics here. There's enough of that. What I'm talking about here are how you rig up your fly rod, this is a question that always comes up, and I don't know even what to do with it. Here's two fly rods. Okay, this one is rigged with a retrieve where you're winding with your right hand. This is one where you wind with your left hand. Okay, what's the right way to do it? Well, there's a lot of stories behind it. In the US, a standard rod will come rigged like this. The idea is you cast with your right hand, reel with your left hand. Pretty common. All the rods come sort of in this configuration. This always seemed uncomfortable to me, and maybe because I still don't know my left from my right. Okay, so this whole thing may be confused a little bit. For some reason, I just can't reel with my left hand, and I have to reel with my right hand. So I rig my rods this way, which is typically the way it would be rigged for a left-handed person. So when people go fishing with me and they borrow one of my rods, they're like, "Whoa, what's going on here? What's this?" And I go, "Oh, it's just rigged basically for a left-handed person." Now the problem is somewhere along the line, when I was a little kid, I may have been left-handed, I may have been right. Anyway, I do some things right-handed and some things left-handed. I'm not ambidextrous. I just can't do some things right-handed, some things left-handed. I'm non-ambidextrous. So I actually cast with my right hand, and then when I'm going to reel the line in, I flip it over. This is the classic right-handed way, the classic British way of fishing. It's kind of like eating with knives and forks. You know, we do it differently than the Europeans. Well, so this would be rigged for a right-hander in Europe, is with casting with the right hand, or a left-hander in the US. This system, where you cast with your right hand, this is the typical right-handed way to do it in the US. Now, a left-hander would find this uncomfortable because they would want to cast left-handed and then reel with their right hand, which is my right-handed reel. So it's very interesting. Often when I'm teaching classes, people go, "I don't like reeling with this hand," and I have a few rods rigged sort of the way I cast, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, this feels just way better. I know what I'm doing." And I don't know if it has to do with whether you're used to a spinning rod or a bait casting rod, because some of those are on opposite sides, and again, I'm not exactly sure why one feels more comfortable than the other one, but they are a particular way. Now, most of these rods. Now, what happens if you get a rod, like I get every rod, and it's rigged this way, and it makes me crazy. And if I go fishing with guides, I also have a hard time with it because they set it up for this standard American system. So what do you have to do? Well, if you buy a reel and you like to do it my way, or you're left-handed, usually most reels now are switchable, and they have to be switchable. You can't just take the line off and rewind it the other way. It just doesn't work because the drag and stuff is goofed up. And the old Medalist rods, or the old Medalist reels, actually are physically, the metal around the reel is physically set up just to go one way. So how you typically do this is you have to take the reel off, and depending upon the reel itself, there'll either be a particular bearing in the reel itself, or In this case, you have to take this screw out, pull this whole gizmo off here, and then there's like a, what do I want to call it? There's basically like some kind of a ring in there that you just flip. And what it does is it just makes the drag and stuff work opposite of what it normally works. So you can flip these around, and then obviously you have to put the line on in the opposite direction, which means a big pile of line in your basement, and God forbid if you have cats, and I've done all of that. So that's just a simple explanation, and there's a lot of fighting about this. What is the proper way of doing it? I believe mine is the proper way. I believe I do it in the proper British traditional method, and especially if you're fishing bamboo, you have to do it that way. You know, because I mean, come on, let's get real. So so I don't know. What is the way that you like to do? What are the ways that you like to fish? Do you like the right hand retrieve or the left hand retrieve? And you know, make a comment on, you know, in the comments. It's just very interesting what people like, and it's all different. So pay attention to this when you buy a rod. See how it feels. Try it the other way and see if it feels better. It's surprising how many people will pick up my rods and go, "Oh, this is a much better way of doing it." Now the downside, I have to say, the downside of fishing the way I do it, and I cast and I do all my mending and all that, and as soon as I hook the fish, there's an immediate changeover at that point. And so you have to be able to fight the fish with your left hand and cast with your right hand. I don't know. I don't know what's better. We'll see. Thanks.